Welcome to Surviving Ish. Let's call this an what the fuck episode. We're going to do this in a completely different way than normal. Because we're going to talk about some things that need to be talked about, and I feel like we share the same ish. So, A.
Yes.
Thank you for being with me, my friend.
You are so welcome.
So there are some political things that has transpired, and I try to not get too political, although 6 out of the 13 episodes I've done have been very political. But with the things that have transpired here the past few days, and especially today, I've been triggered, I've been mad, and I've been fighting. For the listener, it is 9:30 Eastern Standard Time. I messaged A about 30 minutes ago and was like, I know it's last minute. Can we jump on Zoom? Because I want to record an episode because I'm mad. And A, before we get more into the conversation, just so the listener knows what I'm talking about, is some more of the Epstien emails have been released, and they are exposing what everyone other than MAGA already knew.
Jeffrey Epstein just exposed Donald Trump from the grave, right? Because Democrats just dropped a bombshell after combing through 23,000 documents that they subpoenaed from the Epstein estate. In one email, Epstein said, of course, Trump knew about the girls as he asked Elaine to stop, and the dog that hasn't barked is Trump. And also saying that an Epstein victim spent hours at the house with Trump, and he's never once been mentioned, police chief, etc. Right? And then keeping that in mind, in a 2015 email, as Trump was campaigning for president, Epstein and journalist Michael Wolff had this exchange. Wolff saying, I hear CNN planning to ask Trump tonight about his relationship with you. Epstein says, if we were able to craft an answer for him, what do you think it should be? And Wolff responding, I think you should let him hang himself. If he says he hasn't been on the plane or to the house, then that gives you valuable PR and political currency. You can hang him in a way that potentially generates a positive benefit for you, or if it really looks like he could win, you could save him, generating a debt. With many saying it essentially sounded like Epstein had blackmail on Trump.
I have spent 2 days arguing with people that we need to believe our children and that a 15-year-old is still a goddamn child.
They are.
Why, A, why am I having to do this? Why are we having to do this?
We shouldn't actually be at this point. We shouldn't be at this point at all. There's so many things that run through my head as far as historically and with how the government is. I wish I could say that I was surprised, but I'm not. Yeah.
And I hate saying this, but I don't get surprised when it's a man defending, especially when it's a white man, because when you look at statistics, white men are they're the leader. And
Yeah.
mass shootings and rape, MAGA Christians are number one in child pornography and in child rape. And so when it comes to arguing with a man, I'm not surprised and I'm ready for the fight. But I've spent the last 5 or 6 hours today arguing with multiple women. And I just, let me throw this preface out here. This conversation will be all over the goddamn place because I cannot get my thoughts together.
Mm-hmm.
For these women to say, for E. Jean Carroll to wait 20 years or however long it was before she reported it, which is not true, and for the Johnson girl, the 13-year-old child, for her to come forward, retract it, because she was terrified of her life. And then a few years ago, she killed herself. And for them to say, well, if this would have happened, they wouldn't have waited till he was running for president. Well, they didn't.
No, they didn't.
It became
Court documents are
vocal.
public records.
Yeah. People started speaking more about it when he became more into the limelight, because there was enough years for things to die down a little bit because there's always something bigger and better the next day, some kind of different news that catches our attention until it becomes someone trying to be and running for the most powerful position in the world. And so things are going to be brought back to surface and come to light. It infuriates me. I'm like, do you not understand, woman, a person that I'm speaking to, that there are people right now that have been assaulted, whether it was yesterday or 10 years ago, that is questioning daily, should I come forward? Should I expose this person? And they see the comments that people like you are making on social media. And that is why they don't do it. And then in 5 years from now, when they have the support and the esteem and the courage to do it, someone's going to say, well, if it was true, you wouldn't have waited this long. Fuck you. I'm sorry, guys. This episode's going to be very unfiltered. I'm not going to hold anything back. When it comes to this shit,
Again, I'm not surprised. Even with the women, there's a reason why victims wait so long, and it goes the whole way back through history. There's always victim shaming. I think that a lot of the women who are saying these things either have become desensitized or they've never been through it. And as far as the victim that committed suicide, like you said, she was terrified. After you've been assaulted, you live a life of fear. You can't really, you can function normally, but there's so much trauma there, it rewires your brain. Not only that, but I don't know if you've noticed this pattern, but every single time something happens to a victim, it's, well, what did you do? What were you wearing? Did you say something? Did you do something? Did you flirt? And that's not even just sexual assault. Like you could even take a domestic violence case and it's, well, what'd you do to piss him off to make, him hit you?
I didn't know my attacker. And
Hmm.
people were asking me, they were like, you're a gay guy. Why were you even at a straight bar?
Because you can be.
But that is part of that victim blaming, right?
Hmm.
That's equivalent to what were you wearing?
Yeah.
Because I'm a little different. I should, like, I thought we could all drink out of the same water fountain. And as of November 17, 2025, as of right now, we're not as segregated to where we can still drink out of the same water fountain. Now,
Yeah.
by the time this is released, on Thursday, I don't know if that'll still be the case in today's administration.
We're supposed to be, but we haven't really made an opportunity for everybody to become equal.
No, I mean, that's exactly,
Never.
once segregation ended, that's exactly why different prison laws and jail felony law, drug laws and stuff changed to predominantly go after the non-white people, mostly black men, because segregation ended, and this was our way to still have that slavery, that racism, that white man power.
They don't want to become the minority. They don't.
And I think that's what's happening right now is they're white knuckling it. They're a few deaths away from becoming the minority.
Yeah.
And once that happens, there's going to be a unity. There's going to be the diversity and the all inclusion that so many of us have fought for years.
Yeah.
I just I can't find the words and when I was talking to these women and even some of the men that I spoke with via social media, I started responding to posts of people saying, if you all could give me examples, show me one example of one 13 or one child, they were saying one child coming forward and saying something about Donald Trump, I will believe that child and fuck Donald Trump.
They really don't.
No, I brought them all the facts and I get the death threats.
What they don't realize is, like, I know cults from a religious perspective. This is a cult from a political perspective.
Do you think they're both equally dangerous, or are you finding one to be more dangerous than the other? Like what? Because I'm viewing a political. I'm living in on the outskirts of a political
Yeah. Can
uh,
I be honest?
just cults, but I've never been this close to one.
Yeah. Can I be honest?
Great.
They're tied hand in hand. I mean, if you look at it, the government and the church, they work together. They scratch their backs, they scratch theirs.
They're not supposed to, but they do.
Yeah, they're not supposed to. Like, the church gets tax breaks.
Well,
And then,
my number one thought of religion is to fear factor, and to have the political, especially Republicans, they want to have that control. And in order to control people, you do the fear factor. And when that fear factor stops working, you find something else to make them desperate, such as starvation, which is why we take away SNAP benefits. Because when people are hungry, they are desperate. And then when the person that created the problem can come in and then solve the problem, then he's the hero and he has my vote, which is exactly what Donald Trump is doing. What I think today, maybe yesterday, I've had the flu for a few days, so some days are running together, so forgive that. But Donald has decided that he is going to do away with some of the tariffs on food to lower prices. Okay, he was the one that told us tariffs will not higher prices. He is the one that set the tariffs. Well, now,
exactly.
to solve the problem of eliminating the tariffs to lower the cost of food. But you know what MAGA doesn't hear from that? Because you know what you and I hear? We hear that, oh, we were right the whole time. Tariffs are paid by us. Food is higher because of the tariffs that Donald put on, and we're having to pay it. What MAGA hears is their homoerotic Donald Trump is coming in a cape to save the day with a problem he goddamn created.
They're so blind. It's because they're only looking at one news source, one that he approves, instead of looking at all of them. They don't do the research themselves. They want to sit there and they want to criticize everyone else, belittle everybody else's intelligence. And it's like, you're not even looking at everything. You can have proof right in your face, and you're choosing to ignore it, is what you're doing. There's a difference between being innocent and actually not knowing. And there's a difference between choosing to be ignorant because you're stubborn and you refuse to be educated. And they're making that choice.
A day or so ago, Megyn Kelly made the comment.
As for Epstein, I've said this before, but just as a reminder, I do know somebody very, very close to this case who is in a position to know virtually everything. Not everything, but virtually everything. And this person has told me from the start, years and years ago, that Jeffrey Epstein, in this person's view, was not a pedophile. This is this person's view, who was there for a lot of this, but that he was into the barely legal type. Like, he liked 15-year-old girls. And I realize this is disgusting. I'm definitely not trying to make an excuse for this. I'm just giving you facts. That he wasn't into like 8-year-olds, but he liked the very young teen types that could pass for even younger than they were, but would look legal to a passerby. And that is what I believed, and that was what I reliably was told for many years.
That was ridiculous.
15-year-olds are children. There
No,
was a person, and I can't take this for myself, although I wish I could. It was beautifully and brilliantly said, but she said, if two parents are separated and one of them pays the other financial means each month for a child, it is not for a almost adult. It is not for someone who is not a child. It is called child support until they turn 18.
exactly.
I'm not paying child support until you turn 10. And from 10 to 15, I'm paying an almost adult support. I'm paying child support until the age of 18.
Yeah.
But you know what's so interesting? Remember when all that racist stuff came out from the young Republicans and they were like, well, they're like 30 years old. They're still children. And they kept saying they were still children. So these men are still children when they say
Yeah.
stupid ass shit. But when a 15-year-old girl gets raped, she's not a child. Fuck you.
I think it all stems back to, I don't know if you've been keeping tabs on this. There are some politicians that are trying to lower the age of consent to 14.
You know why that happened? There is a politician who has a nephew
Mm-hmm.
um, sexually assaulted a girl that was in high school. He changed it for his state to where he cannot be tried as an adult.
I
So,
saw that.
yeah, so he changed it to where even though he's a legal adult, he is not convicted as an adult.
That actually really angered me because he got to get away with it. But they always make the pass for cisgendered white men. And another thing is, I'm not surprised because they also have child marriage legal in some states.
Okay, so this says approximately 34 states still permit marriage for minors under the age of 18, typically with expectations that involve parental consent, judicial approval, or specific circumstances like pregnancy. The age a person can marry in these states often fall between 16 and 17. Only a minority of states have completely banned marriage for anyone under the age of 18, with no exceptions. So these states include, so you have to at least be 18 or older to get married in Connecticut, Delaware, Maine, Massachusetts, Michigan, Minnesota, Missouri, New Hampshire, New Jersey, New York, Oregon, Pennsylvania, Rhode Island, Vermont, Virginia, and Washington. Good for you all.
Yeah. And it's like we still have 34 states. And how old does it say that you have to be in order to be a minor and get married with parental consent?
It says the actual minimum age a person can marry in these states are often between 16 and 17, but in some states can be lower.
Yeah.
So this says states that have banned marriage under 18, no exceptions, are the ones that I just mentioned.
I'm glad I'm in one of those states.
So states with no statutory minimum age. A small number of states have statutes that effectively do not set any age floor if they meet the required expectations like parental consent or judicial approval. As of recent date, these states have been identified as California, Mississippi, New Mexico, Oklahoma.
Mm-hmm. And that's alarming to not even have an age set. I mean, it's already disgusting that you're like, oh, under 18 can be married. I don't know how you were at 18. I know how I was. I wasn't ready for anything at 18.
I was doing some thinking. I'm always on the side of the victim. And there are times that people are having a victim response to things when they don't even know to recognize that they're victims. And this is going to sound like I'm giving people the benefit of the doubt. And
Mhm.
I'm trying to play both sides to the double-edged sword, right?
Yeah,
Um,
you have to be able to understand.
when it comes to men, a lot of men have been through trauma that has been minimized.
Yeah.
And they've been told this isn't traumatic, to tough it up, fight it out in the front yard, you're good. A lot of women have been told the same thing, but with women, it hits a little differently with them. And I think that's where the suppression comes in, and it becomes maybe normal to them. It becomes everyday life to them. And so, what I fear is, as mad as I am at these women that were reaching out to me, saying these things to me today about, defending Donald. Two things can be true at the same time. I can be as mad as fuck as them, and but there could also be a world where they are having a trauma response.
That's
And
true.
and when that hit me, I realized that when you look at the demographics that support Donald through everything, what now again, not a doctor, not a therapist. We've heard about the four F's, right? The fight, flight, free, or fawn.
Yes.
MAGA is fawn. MAGA is
Mhm.
fawning over Trump.
Yeah.
I think what is happening is Donald is the bad guy, the bully, the one that stole your lunch money, the one that touched your pussy, the one that touched your what is that horse name? Bubba?
Oh, Bubba?
Yeah. Honey, Donald is such a pussy. Donald is such a Bubba. Donald has stole your lunch money. Donald has made fun of you for being poor. And so all of these people are having a fawning trauma response to Donald. Fawning is when you become the pleaser to
Oh, okay, I see what you mean.
perpetrator, right? And so, like, where everyone has to say, no, I have to defend him. I've got to tell him how great he is. I've got to tell him how masculine he is and how great his hair is and how big his hands are compared to Obama's. And, like, all these compliments that are had to be given to him, like, that's the fawning, right? Like, if
Yeah.
I'm fawning you, if I'm like, oh my God, you're so great, then you're not going to hurt me again. And so I think MAGA is triggered and fawning because Trump is all of their abusers, attackers, whether it was verbal, physical, sexual, emotional, any form and every form of abuse, Donald is doing to America. You have people like us that have had the therapy where we're like, bitch, I know a narcissist abuser when I see one, and I want nothing to do with you. Not even
Yeah.
for one night stand, because your hands are not big and your hair is not great. And I don't want your horribly unblended makeup all over my fucking pillowcase. But you have these people that are like, he's every man. He's everything I wish that I could be. Because if they tell him that, they will not be hurt by him.
Exactly.
So they think. And they're the ones that are getting hurt the most. Donald hasn't hurt me. He's not disappointed me. He's not let me down. I believed him when he told me who he was
Oh, yeah.
years ago.
They've had so much thrown in their face. So much thrown in their face. And I mean, let's go back to talking about his daughter and about how if she were older and she weren't my daughter, I'd date her.
Disappointing? Not really. But it would depend on what was inside the magazine. I don't think Ivanka would do that inside the magazine, although she does have a very nice figure. I've said that if Ivanka weren't my daughter, perhaps I'd be dating her.
And seeing that 10-year-old girl and him saying, well, in 10 years I will date you.
Exactly. That's gross.
In the comment of the Miss Universe pageant, beauty pageant, with him saying that because he owns a place, he can go inside the dressing rooms and did.
You could also say, as the owner of the pageant, it's your obligation to do that.
So you have done that. Now,
I'll tell you the funniest is that I'll go backstage before a show.
Yes.
And everyone's getting dressed and ready and everything else. And, no men are anywhere. And I'm allowed to go in because I'm the owner of the pageant, and therefore I'm inspecting it. I'm inspecting. I want to make sure that
You're like
everything is
doctor.
good.
You're there.
Yeah, the dress. Is everyone okay? They're standing there with no clothes. Is everybody okay? And you see these incredible-looking women. And so I sort of get away with things like that.
They will let preachers get away with this, and they will let people like Donald Trump get away with this, or any type of Republican get away with this. However, if Mega were to view it as a Democrat, as a cross-dresser, as a drag queen, anybody in LGBTQ, they would be going off. So why aren't you going off about the same side? Because I know this about my side. We don't care if you're gay, if you're Democrat, if you're a pastor or not. We don't care what you are. If you're a pedophile, if you're a rapist, we're going to call you out. We're not going to claim you.
Yeah.
Because they also go for LGBTQ. And I can give an actual example of how we actually do call people like this out. Minor attracted persons have tried to join our movement. They have a flag that is similar to the trans pride flag. We've made ourselves aware. We look at it, and we've already said they're not a part of us. They're not welcome to Pride. There are people to where if they see that flag, whatever happens, happens. I didn't see anything. But then with that side, they're going to cover it up because for them, it's about sides. It's not about right or wrong anymore. They don't have any morals and values. They want to talk about family morals, family values, this and that. Cool. Act on them no matter what side you're on. And they're not doing that.
There's two different responses that I've gotten on my social media the past couple days. Because on my social media, I won't post anything but political stuff.
Yeah.
On my personal one. And to the point that I've gotten death threats and that people swear up and down DNC is paying me. And I'm like, no, they're not paying me. I'm just reposting something that a brilliant person has posted that I've also fact checked to find to be true. You know what I mean? Like I'm posting it to educate myself when I fact check. Like I'm not an investigative journalist doing the work myself, although I'm getting very close to that. So if any DNC person wants to pay me, I will work for cheap at this point. So there is a comedian, and I'm not going to say his name. He's not famous, but he's building a bit of a social network. And he requested to be my friend several months ago. And I accepted, and within minutes, he was going off on me about my hate for Donald. Well, I don't delete people. The reason I don't delete people is because I need you to see the fact-checked information that is truth that I'm posting, thinking and hoping that one day you're going to type in a few words in your little keyboard and read the truth from a reliable source and believe it and change your stance. This dude is building a platform and he refuses to do the work, which is very dangerous. And so he made, I do not comment on other people's posts. But let me retract that. I very seldomly comment on other people's posts. I usually wait till they comment on mine, and then I have a conversation with them. And I got to the point where I was like, I'm tired of trying to talk to you like an adult. Tired of trying to talk to you like you have a bit of sense. I'm coming in to shame you. I'm coming in to embarrass you because that's all that is going to get to you. And then they want to go into this tug of war of delete me if you want to, David. I'm like, no, I'm not going to delete you. They won't delete me either. And because I think that a part of them knows what the truth is, and they're just waiting and hoping that one day something is going to just slap the fuck out of them with some truth. And what makes me mad about that? It's when that happens is when it hits them personally, which means I don't care what happens to my gay ass. I don't care what
Mhm.
happens to the woman next door with no husband that's on food stamps who works a full-time job and a part-time job with 2 children, and it didn't matter when it happened to them or the person down the street that got attacked by ICE when they were a fucking American, regardless if they were a US citizen or not. The way it's happening should not goddamn happen. But it didn't matter until it hit them, right?
Yeah, because it's not affecting them. If it's happening to somebody else, so well.
And so I won't delete people. I went on a tangent, but so this morning I saw a post from this comedian I was talking about. And he said, they're talking about the Epstein files and how he was a child molester and a child rapist. And if anyone can show me a single case where this was brought into public attention, I'll be done with Donald Trump. Well, I want to respond to that.
Yeah.
And I left in 3 posts. I left, and he already had like 300 comments on this page. And of course, all of them were like, well, of course there's not none. There ain't none. There ain't none. There ain't none. And half of them don't even know how to spell ain't.
Yeah.
And so then I leave 3 long posts with references and everything, but I start out with E. Jean Carroll. And I leave the adult victims in 1 post. And then I go to another one, and then I go to another one, which led down to the 13-year-old, that
Mhm.
in her adult life chose to end her life. So he, as well as multiple others, start messaging, oh, you did not understand this post, David, because we were talking about if a child was raped, not an adult.
So they didn't read the whole thing.
So you didn't read the whole thing, which granted, there's 3 different comments on this post by me that broke it down. But the fact that they were trying to say, well, it's fine that he raped adults.
Rape is never okay.
Exactly.
It doesn't matter how old you are
They
or
want,
what gender you are.
they wanted to shame me by saying, well, you didn't follow the rules. He was asking for a child that had been raped, not the adult. Well, the fact that we've had to go this damn far before he's even asking about a child, when we know about when we know about all 23 or 26 victims reported of Donald, and the fact that like it's okay if he did it to them. And I said, well, read the post under this. It talks about the child. When I tell you, I'll take screenshots, I'll send it to you.
Oh, please do.
Everyone said, I went through your page, David, and I flipped through and through and through, and I'm not seeing you say anything about Biden sniffing a child's hair.
We're really going to talk about sniffing hair. I'll admit, yeah, that's creepy, but there's no statements of him doing anything to children that I know of. However, if statements were to come out, or if he were on the Epstein file list, I would still stand with the survivors. I would still stand with them, even if it is Biden. I don't care if it's Biden. I don't care if it's Clinton. I don't care if it's Obama. I don't care if it's Trump. I don't care who it is. Rape is rape. Pedophilia is pedophilia. It's still a child.
Someone
It's wrong.
had the audacity, someone had the audacity to say to me, be careful because of what you asked for, because Bill Clinton's probably on that list. Fucking lock him up. If he is on that list, Let's lock him and Bill Clinton in up together. I don't give a goddamn. It is
Yeah.
not about, I want Republicans to be punished and Democrats to be high on this throne. It's not what it's about.
It's
Because
not. It's not about parties. It's about protecting children.
someone had the audacity to say it is on national television of Biden hugging a little girl and sniffing her hair. Under the same comment, with the same verified links of Donald Trump raping a 13-year-old girl that was not on national television, that was done privately, and emails to back it up. And they were like, well, be careful what you ask for because Bill Clinton, if Bill
Good. If he's on the list, good.
lock him up, baby.
Yeah, lock them all up. It's not about Bill Clinton. It's not about red. It's not about blue. I don't even care if you're a third party. I don't care if you're the Green Party. Lock them up. But you're literally worshiping these men that are harming children. And what I want to ask is, would they let their children alone with these men? Would they let these children go onto that island for a weekend? Probably. They would, if they were paid enough, probably.
Do you want to know something that is the most insulting thing anyone has ever said to me?
Yeah.
Is so I had a really good friend until the voting time between Kamala and Donald.
Yeah.
I've been very loud and political this election. And a friend of mine, white lady who loves black men, she's not married to a white man, but her preference has always been black man. Her daughter's preference is black man to the point that her child is mixed, which who gives a fuck, right?
Yeah.
I love that. I love her grandson, like
Exactly.
none of that matters to me. I don't give a goddamn. But she made a comment on one of my posts about if you vote for Donald, I I need to let you go. And so she makes a comment on that post, and she was like, David, when your hate crime happened, I was the one that stayed beside you the whole time. Like I, like I supported you. She said, but I'm voting for Donald for financial reasons because he is a businessman. He's not.
Yeah. He's
He's
filed bankruptcy how many times?
and not only has he filed bankruptcy 6 or 7 times, but he bankrupt casinos, the hardest business. And she said, well, I just want my eggs and bread to be cheaper. And I said, you know what? Your eggs are going to be cheaper because you're going to be sitting around the table with less people to feed because we're not going to be around.
Yeah.
And then we get into the whole rape thing. And I said, let me ask you a question. Would you allow your daughter in a room locked up with Donald for 24 hours? And she said, yes, because I taught my daughter how to defend herself.
How old's her daughter again?
Her daughter's in her maybe 30 at this point.
Okay. But either way, you're still leaving a girl there, even though she's a grown woman, with somebody who's been convicted.
But think of it this way. I was 34 years old as a full-grown man.
Mm-hmm.
My rape and attack happened. You know what she just told me when she said, I taught my daughter how to defend herself, so yeah, I'll let her spend the night with Donald Trump? She told me that my family did not teach me how to defend myself and that my family is part of the blame for why I cannot fight off my attacker because I did not know how to fight off a rapist. That is what she told me, right? In that one statement. That is what.
Yeah. That's basically what she said.
I read something online a couple days ago that I think fits most is we're 2 paychecks away from being homeless. None of us are 2 paychecks away from being a billionaire. Why the fuck are we supporting the billionaires?
Yeah,
And
because they wouldn't save us.
when I read that, like it was a punch in the gut. Like I am in a good place financially, but it only takes to find out that your bills went up $1,000. The month of Thanksgiving, the month before Christmas,
Yeah,
I truly believe is not going to last forever. You know, I really think, I really believe in you, and we have to hit rock bottom to know which way is up. And
yeah,
in this case, it's going to take the whole society to hit rock bottom. And it's going to take MAGA to realize they've been rock bottom before any of us can figure out the way up. And I think we're getting there. I think this Christmas is going to be a Christmas to remember. Unfortunately, I don't think it's going to be the beautiful, great Christmas to remember,
definitely not.
but I think it's going to be, I think we're getting to the beginning of the end. And I think that we're hitting rock bottom.
We definitely are. And, to add on to the billionaires thing, especially with what you just said, how we're, maybe one or two checks away from homelessness. Meanwhile, we're not even two checks away from becoming a billionaire. It really baffles me how people are defending billionaires. And whenever you talk about tax the rich, they're like, oh, they worked hard for it. What about you? Haven't you worked hard for what you have? And then they also want to throw in red versus blue and, as far as the list. Don't fight for a politician, fight for yourself. Fight for your family. It's not about protecting them because they're not protecting you. They're not working to make your life any better. I've never understood how people can go ahead and defend these people in high places that don't help them. And they wouldn't even give them a second thought.
Yeah. I'm trying to not get emotional with this. I always want to be strong, and I always want to be like one of those voices that is strong, but that's not me. Well, no, I am strong, but
Mm-hmm.
what I'm saying that it is not me is only having that strong eye contact emotion. And I've had, and you all can go to my Facebook. You can see this. I have messages of people saying, "Why do you care? You don't even have children. Why do you care? You're a white man with a few dollars in the bank. I do not have to let something hit me in order to care. What I understand and what I've understood about this administration is I lead as a white man with a few dollars in the bank. But what I knew and what I know is I'm a few notches away from being the one that they take down. I'm not going to wait for them to attack me before I start standing up.
Yeah,
I will fight for everybody.
that's how it should be. My question to them is, why don't you care?
I usually don't make videos, especially like this. But why have I had to spend all day today explaining to people on other social media platforms that a 15-year-old is still a goddamn child? What the fuck, MAGA? I've spent hours today defending 15-year-olds.
Yeah.
How is this real life?
I wish I knew the answer. And I wish more people, they talk about morals and values, but they really don't stand behind it whenever it comes down to it.
there's a lot of things that I've learned. And when someone talks about morals and values, I ask them, what does that mean to you? Because
Hmm.
obviously, morals and values to me is a light year difference than what it means to a certain cult.
Whenever I was in the cult, I used to hear this one phrase that I think fits perfectly. If you don't stand for something, you will fall for anything. And it's those that are like, I have morals, I have values. They don't. They're not able to stand for anything. They're falling for everything. We're watching it. We're watching them fall for everything.
So, my last question for you, and then we can end. But am I wasting my time trying to target and talk to the people that are in the cult versus making alliances with the people that are not in the cult? Because I feel like I keep hitting a fucking brick wall. But I do not want anyone to go through what I went through. And what I went through with the mental turmoil, the physical turmoil that I went through, I was 34 years old. Statistics show that it happens 20 years before it happened to me. I knew what a healthy sex life was. And it
Yeah.
still fucked with me when that rape happened. You know, and I'm trying so hard to prevent it to happen to anyone. But I keep hitting these brick walls with these people. And what am I doing wrong?
I don't think you're doing anything wrong. I think right now the ears are deaf. However, I never think it's a lost cause because you're still advocating. Because eventually down the line, and it's sad to say, and I wouldn't want this to happen to my worst enemy. I wouldn't want it to happen to even a mega woman, as much as I can't stand that she's being vocal for Trump. But it could happen to her. It could happen to her child. It could happen to her grandchild. Chances are she may not believe them. But then later on, whenever something like that does happen, she is going to think back to you. She's going to think back to the conversation. Maybe I never want anything I want to state because I know so many people will twist this. I never want to see this happen to anyone. However, we know the odds. We know what people are like. We know that there are evil people in this world. And the chances are it is going to happen. It's inevitable, whether it happens to them or someone they love. And sometimes it needs to happen for them to wake up. Not that it should. Not that it should, but then it's not even whenever they reflect back to the conversation of them being like, oh, they're right. It's more of they warned me about this because they knew the signs and I didn't listen. So now I need to learn more. Because I've had so many people come to me, you know my experience. You know it's pretty rough. And anytime people have asked me for advice, I've had people been like, "No, that's your trauma. That's just you. You're triggered right now." Later on it comes out that what I said was happening has happened. And then they come back and they're like, "What do I do next? How do I help so and so heal? How do I heal?" And it's like, "Oh, sorry, I didn't believe you." And it's like, you don't even need to be sorry. It's going to be rough. It is rough advocating for it. It's rough speaking out, even whenever it's falling on deaf ears, but later on there's always going to be something rough that happens. And even though we're not, it may not look like we're making a difference now. It could be 10 years down the road to where they remember that conversation with you.
I put such an unrealistic expectation on myself, you know, and
We all do.
I thought I have an amazing support team, have amazing friends. I Everyone believes me. Everyone knows the truth. Even when they try to blame me for being raped, they still, without a doubt, knew that I was raped. And
Mhm.
that's a whole other thing, right? Like, I'm not saying that but they still knew something was bad. So they were like white knuckling the whole, like, where do I land kind of thing, which means just a single slap in the face of realization could push them over to make them realize that that ideology is fucked up. But I guess I'm realizing how naive I was, and sometimes am, because I thought sharing my story and
Mhm.
being open and vulnerable and relying on my support team and all the things that I have that not everyone else does, that I could be the last one. I wanted to go down in history of being the last person this happened to.
I
And
think we all want that.
oh, sure, yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. I'm not by any means in a minority with that,
Mhm.
but for us to truly believe and want that, and when we hear about the next case and the next time that it could have been us, there, I mean, when I think about the Matthew Shepard case, now granted, his
Yeah.
happened before mine, but there were so many things that were so common. Like, his body was found 18 hours later, my body was found 18 hours later. He was barely alive, I was barely alive. The victim blaming, there was so many things that were just mere image. And I you know what, I the fact that I that people like us have to share a story and fight so loud and so hard for people to realize that what happened to us is bad, and the fact that we don't want it to happen to their fucking children, and they don't care until it happens to their children. I can't wrap my mind around it.
I can't either. Because there are ways to educate yourself. It's called preventative care. And as a parent, that is your responsibility to be preventative. As adults, we don't have many people looking out for us, sometimes family and friends. There's going to be times to where they're going to be alone. And even whenever it happens to us, it's not our fault, because the thing is, predators, they're opportunists. They're opportunists. And not only that, some of them are very calculated, and they will sit back and they will learn your patterns, they'll learn your schedule. And for the longest time, like, I would love to for people to think, how would life be different if we stopped putting blame on the victims and we started holding accountability towards the predators? Life would be so much safer. But instead, this is why it continues on. You're not holding people accountable. You want to find excuses for the predator. You want to put the shame on the victim. And this is why so many people don't speak up. Also, victim suicide, it's pretty high because in order to heal, you need support. And so many people don't have that.
What scares me, and the reason I wanted this episode with you tonight, especially after the conversations I've had today, is we are a week away from Thanksgiving, which means we're what, 5 weeks away from Christmas, and holidays are hard for a lot of people.
Yeah.
I don't know stats, but I will say personally what I know and what I've educated myself on personally, being a gay man, is there are a lot of gay people that turn to drugs and alcohol because they have nowhere to go for the holidays. And I know there's plenty of people like that, right? I'm just saying that what I know personally,
Yeah.
and not trying to minimize any other demographic, but for this Epstein list thing to be talked about, so much right now, and with the not believing the victims, which has always been a thing, but it hits you differently seasonally. And I'm terrified for the people that are wanting to come forward for hope and support. And then hearing things like this is going to prevent them from doing that, which could lead them to the worst. I'm getting emotional about it. But you know what? They're worth our tears. They're worth our emotion.
They are.
If anyone is listening to this, your life is fucking worth it. And I'm a nobody, but fucking reach out to me. Like I'll talk to anybody.
Yeah.
Odds are I'm sitting here on my bed hoping someone messages me and said, "Hey, I just listened to your episode." I fight and I'm loud because I fucking care.
I know you do.
Okay. Let's end on something positive. Okay. What's the do you have a positive? If not, I will say one.
I have a silly petty grievance, but I don't have anything positive.
Honey, okay, let's end on a silly petty grievance. Oh my gosh, yes, we've done. What is that? When you flip it,
Yeah.
reverse it. We'll end on a petty silly. Do it. Let's do it.
You know how sometimes we sit there and we insult men for their receding hairlines because we're sick of their shit? Do
Uh,
you know how many times I've stared at myself in the mirror and I've gone, man, my forehead has never been that damn big. And then I'm sitting there in the mirror and I'm like, oh my God, is my hairline receding? And then I'm just like, I need to get bangs. I need to get bangs.
okay, I think you would look really good with bangs.
I've had bangs before.
Okay, so I think you need to get bangs, and then I think we need to have a follow-up episode with your debut of the bang.
Yes, yes. And you know what? I'm at least happy that that is my petty grievance whenever there's so much
You know what?
bigger stuff, bigger fish to fry.
In today's America, we have to have the things, you know?
Yeah. And it's like the bangs and the forehead don't matter. There's so much more to bitch about. But I'm like, oh my God, my forehead, you could like run a billboard across it.
But we can't forget about those petty grievances because we have to remember when life was simple.
Yes.
When our challenge in life is not as it is my women rights being taken away, is my gay
Yeah.
must be assassinated, like is my friend over here that is nothing but amazing and lovely, but here on asylum about to be deported.
Yeah.
We have to have a moment of, but what about my bangs? We have to
Exactly, we do. And before I get the bangs, I want to put this out there for anybody. If you like my big forehead, you could rent it out for so much a day. For so much a day if you want some advertising.
okay, so let's test it. My ish sign.
Right there. Surviving-ish. Here, scan this code for the podcast.
Oh my gosh. Okay, so here's my little petty thing.
I'm all
I don't know how this happens, and I want to know if it happens to you. So it's like every 3 days I'm looking in or like doing something inside my like SUV,
Mhm.
and the head part of my driver's seat will be up like 3 notches. I never,
Yeah.
I never raise it. I don't know that I even like put my head on it and raise like, my,
It
but
shouldn't work that way.
why? Like, and I lower it all the way down. Like I need to touch the bottom, and you can
Yeah.
even see like the passenger side doesn't do it. The back seats doesn't do it. Third row doesn't do it. It's just the one right beside me, or the one right behind me where my head is. Like
Hmm.
every few days, it's like up 3 not. What raised it? And how did I not know that it got raised?
Yeah.
How did I not feel that? And how does it take me like pumping gas or something to be like, fuck?
Yeah.
Like, does yours do that?
So mine is raised. I never raised it. I don't know how it got raised. I suspected it was my stepdad whenever he went to go use my car or whatever. But that leads me to think one of two things. One is somebody messing with your car because
Every 3 days when I know nobody and nobody, I don't have a husband or a partner. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I don't have anybody that's trying to be like, play a joke.
yeah, either play a joke or but
But
I'm a suspicious mind. I'm a very suspicious mind. So I'm like, is somebody stalking my David?
but,
Because I'll meet them
but
out there with a baseball bat.
this isn't just recent. This has been going on for a while.
Yeah.
Like many years, many cars. Okay. So let's do this. What is today? Today is November 17th at 10:40 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So it probably won't happen until Tuesday. So tomorrow morning, let's make sure our our head, what is that even called? A head,
The headrest.
it is?
Yeah.
Okay. So our headrest in the morning, we're gonna make sure that it's down. And we'll take a
Hmm.
video or a little picture of it.
Yeah.
And we'll give it a week. So we'll give it a Monday next week, next Monday. And let's you and I see, and we'll document it daily because I have questions.
Do you have a ghost that's in love with you?
So
Never know.
it's
No.
so he better be cute.
You
And
better be.
the fact that he's already dead, I'll take it. You know,
Right?
but like listen, but I just I cannot wrap my mind around
Yeah. That's strange. And then it's like, okay, well, is there something wrong with the headrest that's inside? Is something clicky that, but you said it's been multiple cars.
it. Yeah.
So it's either a stalker or a ghost.
Yeah, because every year I get a new car and I need to start leasing is what I mean.
Mhm.
But every year for the past few years I've gotten a new car. And but even when I had so I'm in the Kia family now, love Kias.
Yeah.
4 years ago I was in the Honda family And I noticed it in the Honda, and it's carried on in the Kia.
You either have a stalker that either one loves you or two has not so good intentions for you, or three, it's a ghost.
This stalker is shooting off the pot. Like, I mean,
He better leave some roses.
if that's all you got for 4 years of, that's all you got. Like, damn.
It's kind of like they're trying to gaslight you to make you think you're crazy.
Oh, okay.
That or they want you to know that you're there.
Well, if it's to make me think I'm crazy, nailed it. Because I'm like, what
Yeah.
the fuck is happening?
But now it's like, okay, I talked to A. I know what's going on.
Yeah. Okay.
And if it's somebody pulling a prank, they're going to watch, they're going to listen to this if they're stalking you, and they're going to be like, it took him 4 years to realize that.
Okay. So we are going to document the next week of where our headrest is,
Yeah.
and we'll report back.
Yes.
Also, the last thing that I want to close with, because you and I talked about this with our friend Sam before you and I started recording, is what is viral right now is the lovely lady who is doing the experiment of calling churches and
Mm-hmm.
saying, hey, got a crying baby, and would you help? Usually the churches say no. I think this is a brilliant social experiment.
Yes.
He is actually from doing all the work from Knoxville, Tennessee, which is where I'm at. And I would love to find a way for this to reach her. I will tag her, and I'm always so nervous and embarrassed to do that. But I think that unity is beauty, and so I will tag her in this. But I would love to collaborate with her. We our network also has another podcast called Unholier Than Thou, where we talk to people getting out of religious cults and all those things. And so I think it would be so fitting, and I would love to collaborate and join forces. And I literally messaged you 30 minutes before we logged on Zoom and was like, girl, like I'm overwhelmed and I need a friend to talk about. And I think that it needs to be expressed, because I can't be the only one. And you're like, got you, be there in a minute. And here you are. And thank you for being that friend for me.
You're welcome. Thank you for having me. I'm
Yeah.
always here for you.
So I know you are, and vice versa. And so what I will say is the plan was a couple weeks ago, and I recorded like a 2 hour long episode of her and I, and it was brilliant. It was lovely. It was great. This was coming out well before, but A is going to be around with us quite a bit. And thank you for being my friend. Thank you for doing this with me. It's such a great way to end my night.